So the basics of stacking your spine is what we want to talk about. I wanted to show you. You want to think about your head, your ribs, and your pelvis. I want you to think of them as building blocks. So we want to stack those blocks, one on top of the other, and I want to talk about some of the variations that happen so you can start to feel what your individual posture is doing. So with your pelvis, one of the things to feel is that a lot of us get really slumped. You can see how if I slump my pelvis to tuck it under, my whole body slumps. My shoulders drop, my head drops forward. So if you take your hands on your pelvis here and just tuck your tail under and stick your tail out a few times, you want to feel like, and you can do with me please, tuck your tail under, stick your tail out. You want to feel that it sits right between those two. So you can also think of your pelvis like a bowl of water, and you don't want the water to spill out the front or out the back. So that's the first thing. A lot of times it helps if your weight stays a little more back on your heels to get the pelvis more neutral. When we go forward, sometimes we start slumping. So feeling the pelvis and then the ribs, a lot of times we get our head forward or we get our ribs thrusting forward to try and stand up tall, but that's not really going to help us very well because it just creates tension in our backs and compression in our spines. So try and feel like your ribs kind of soften and stay stacked, this piece of your body, over your pelvis. And then your head, there's a few ways to feel like your head block is stacked. One of the ways is you can imagine there's a little string suspending your head from the ceiling, or suspending your whole body from the ceiling, really. And another thing to think about is that it's like your ears come up and back so that your chin drops a little bit. Because a lot of times when we get into this slumped posture, our chin juts forward and then we try to straighten up and we keep our chin lifted. So we actually want to feel like our chin drops a hair and we draw the center of our skull back over our body. So now you can see he came from a very different posture and now he's got a much better alignment. So you can think about this in a more specific way. We just went through a more specific version of stacking things up. Or you can just try to start imagining, like feel, okay, my pelvis, my ribs, my head, can I stack those things up? And I don't want you to feel like it's forced or tense. Try to just make little micro adjustments. Small adjustments will go a long way. Every time you do your posture check throughout this segment, try to feel where you are. And part of it is just the awareness. Sometimes maybe your alarm will go off and you're sitting at your desk and you'll feel, oh, I've slumped down into my computer. And even just that moment of awareness will cause you to find better alignment in your body. So these small changes will add up to a lot so that your body can be much more comfortable, much more strong, and much more healthy.